Well, another development when it comes to the potential return of Major League Baseball. And if you're believing Commissioner Rob Manfred today, you likely won't see baseball for a very, very long time. Shai Davidi, Ben Nicholson-Smith with me right now. Manfred saying he is not confident there will be a season. In fact, for the second time in a week, he used the term 100%. Last week, it was in reference to a season being played. He said 100%, I expect there to be a season. Today, he says, I can't say 100%. There will be. Shai, I'm going to start with you because you and I spoke less than 36 hours ago. You were confident they'd find a way. The MLBPA said, hey, just tell us what to do Monday and we'll do it. Enough is enough. Even amidst those statements, this is where we are. Is this a negotiation tactic by the commissioner or is this real?
Well, clearly I don't know what I'm talking about. So
that's what I wanted to say. So let's start with you, get out of the way and go to bed. Yeah.
Look, I think a lot of people were floored. I communicated with some players, some other people around the game, and everybody is stunned. I mean, one person said these guys, and he didn't use the term guys, but I can't use the term that he actually used, are going to burn this thing down. And that is the impression. Now, initially, that was my reaction too. But one thing baseball executives love more than anything is dispassionate, data-driven decision-making. There is some sort of end here. So I don't think that it's coincidental that the players happen to throw this back in the owner's lap, and then suddenly Rob Manfred has this turn. This is clearly part of whatever this process is, but it is clearly getting more difficult. And from the vantage point right now that I have, it really looks like the players are to some degree driving this process, and the owners just don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, if you listen to MLBPA Director Tony Clark and the statement they put out in response to this, Ben, he said players are disgusted. Players are disgusted. That's a pretty big word, Ben.
Absolutely. And I think that when you look at the turn of events from June 10th, Rob Manfred saying 100% there will be a season, to June 15th saying, we're not so sure. We might not have one. I mean, that is a reversal, a complete 180, and one that the players, of course, are going to notice. So you see publicly players are calling out the commissioner. You think about Toronto Blue Jays like Randall Grichuk and Travis Shaw doing so on their social media accounts. And then Trevor Bauer, perhaps most notably, going off on a rant that echoed throughout the industry. And I heard from a couple people on the player side within the industry who said, hey, this theory actually holds some water when you think about the idea that if MLB wants to implement a short season, what they're doing now is essentially running out the clock. They're trying to kill time in the view of some people in the industry, and that is sabotaging the game. The players don't like it. Fans, of course, don't like it, and that's where we are today.
Shai, why? Like, isn't it in the best interest of both owners and players to just play as many games as possible? Or from the owner's perspective, the league's perspective, they want to reduce the amount of salary they have to pay players, period, at any cost?
Yeah, I mean, that clearly seems to be on the agenda. But I think we need to take a step back. And we've talked about this a lot, but you have to look at this through the historical prism of baseball. Mm-hmm. This has been a poisoned relationship for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, if you want to really go back, for as long as we've historically been in the game. And there was a brief period of calm, but there's been a buildup of animosity since the last collective bargaining agreement when, the owners largely got the better of the players. The players clearly want to win some of that back, and that was on the agenda. The owners wanted to extract further gains. We've heard Arizona Diamondbacks owner say, essentially, we should be pursuing a salary cap. This is what's better for the league. And there are a lot of people who think that it may be part of the ultimate agenda here. So this is really disappointing for a lot of people in the game that it's happening amid a pandemic. Really, to make baseball work, you're going to need more trust, more cooperation as opposed to less. And every step along the way has just made this process entirely more difficult. It was going to be really difficult that you were essentially having to thread the needle as it was.
Ben, when Commissioner Manfred says it's been a disaster, the optics of how this has played out online and what's been going on, should he not be looking himself in the mirror as well and taking some responsibility for where we're at in terms of the stalemate between the players union and baseball?
Without a doubt. Absolutely. That has to be part of the accounting here. I mean, you look back a few months and the headlines that we were reading at that point were revolving around the potential impact that Major League Baseball could have for a world dealing with a global pandemic. And all of that still holds true. And you look at sports like the NBA, you look at the NHL, they have return to play plans in place. And in contrast to that, Major League Baseball, despite this opportunity to come back potentially before those sports and to really grab the attention of fans and to really showcase a really exciting collection of young talent, they are getting in their own way. So absolutely, this is a disaster. There's no doubt it has gone from an uncomfortable situation that still had a chance for a quick and reasonable resolution to a disaster. And there is no doubt that Rob Manfred is one of the primary people who has to look in the mirror and be accountable for that.
Shai, I'm going to ask you the same question for the second time in 36 hours. All right. Do you think there will be a baseball season?
I still think there will be a baseball season. But clearly my predictions aren't worth very much at this point. So I don't know if we should hold a lot of water in that, but I still can't see, like, they're not over the cliff yet. I mean, they're barreling towards a cliff. It's going to be really difficult for them to stop themselves. But I think that there are going to be some people who in the game who have an opportunity to serve as a bridge right now, and an opportunity to try and bring about a more sane resolution to this. Some people who don't want to let things go nuclear. And we've seen that a lot of times over the years in various labor negotiations. 1994, of course, they weren't able to save things. 2002, when the players were on the brink of another strike in the middle of the summer, some of the more moderate parties on both sides were able to bring about a resolution, and that ushered in an era of relative labor peace and ultimately the prosperity that the game has experienced, the record prosperity. So we need a few of those people right now to intervene, get involved, and really just calm everyone down and get everyone to the center.
Who are some of those people, Shai? Who could some of those potential people be?
Well, I think that's really one of the biggest questions in the game right now, because we're essentially hearing Rob Manfred. I mean, we've heard from the owners of the Cardinals and the Diamondbacks, and they've taken more hawkish approaches. But right now, the Doves are clearly getting drowned out, whoever they are. And I think the team like the Blue Jays, someone like Mark Shapiro, who has connections in every aspect of the game, he's certainly someone who has an opportunity to serve as one of those bridges to provide that. I think the Blue Jays are a team that's very, very motivated to play. They understand where they are as a franchise, the opportunity they have, but whether or not they can sway the other clubs and sway the parties who are really pushing this aggressive agenda, open question right now.
So Ben, I'll ask you the same question I asked Shai prior to the last one. Do you think baseball will be played in 2020?
Yes, I do think we are going to see baseball played in 2020. To me, the question really becomes, how many games do they play? And with each day that passes, we run out of time because Major League Baseball wants the season to be wrapped up by the end of September. So whether that's a 50-game season, which seems like a worst case, or potentially all the way up to 70, 75 games, hard to say at this point. And another question, once they do get started, because I really do think they will, is where that relationship lies between the players and owners. And at this point, based on everything that's out there publicly, and who knows what they're saying behind the scenes, it doesn't look good. So there is a lot of repair work to be done between these two sides.
Well, what's the next move here then, Ben?
Well, at this point, Major League Baseball really does have the ball in their court.
Yeah.
The players have said, tell us where to play and when. I mean, that's pretty much an open invitation to get the season going. And really, Major League Baseball should take advantage of that and say, we are going to take advantage of this spotlight, even if we're not making as much money as we typically would in the pandemic. Take the spotlight, be in that entertainment spotlight, be on people's Instagram feeds, and be on their phones and on their TVs and enjoy that. So the sooner they can do that, then the better off the league will be.
It feels so obvious, obviously, as well. But here we are, guys, June 15th, just a day, again, Shai, between you and I talking about it from one perspective, and it feels like this is almost worst case from another perspective. Guys, before we started, I made a ballpark dog because I was craving it today, and I'm hoping, and like it's sitting here waiting to be eaten because I had to speak to you fine gentlemen. I'm hoping the confines of my home are not the only place I can sense that. I know we won't get to watch baseball or be there, but the atmosphere at least is what I'm hoping to return. Shai Davidi, Ben Nicholson-Smith, I appreciate your time, guys, and I imagine we'll do this again at some point soon.
Looking forward to it. Enjoy that hot dog.
And hopefully under happier circumstances next time.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Shai. Thanks, Ben.